Apparently, I was a bad Rotarian. Greetings, Dave here, DCP Facts. This is a video I've been alluding to for a while. I said I would get to this eventually. And it's fitting because this is the 1-year anniversary of my being removed from the Rotary Club of Barrie. Let me paint the stage here for you. Now, I did this video a year ago. I just had some things to get off my chest, and I did. I made a video. I never posted it. Let me start from the beginning. In 1999, I joined the Rotary Club of Barrie. Barrie is a town north of Toronto. You've heard me talk about it. Back in the 60s, my uncle, well, my then uncle, he divorced my aunt, so he's not my uncle anymore, he joined the club. In the 80s, he sponsored my father. In 1999, my father sponsored me, and my uncle sponsored my then cousin. He was married to my cousin, and he's not any longer. We joined the same day. It was December 9th, 1999. I believe it was December 9th, 1999. And then I did what I did. You know, I was a good Rotarian. As I allude to there, I did what I could. You know, you serve as you should. And I chaired one of our major fundraisers, Camping Fest. It was it's a weekend festival. Up in Barrie, up until the last 2 years, there's been what's called the Huronia Festival of Arts and Crafts. The Rotary Club of Barrie had at the time, beer garden. The year I chaired it, I introduced the stage. It wasn't anything huge I did, it just was a decision I made. At that point, OLG, the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Commission, said, hey, we want to bring music to this event of yours. Hey, the YMCA, do you want it? And they went, no, we don't want to do that. Rotary, do you want it? As chairman of the event, yeah, I'll do it. And I got lots of opposition from people about that, saying, hey, no, we don't do this. I said, look, we're doing this. End of story. And at the end of it, or at the first day of the event, the person who gave me the biggest flack about it, because he had your license and all the stuff for the liquor, he came to me and said, this is the best idea that we've done. I know. That's why I said we were doing it. So anyway, I did that when I was 3 years in the club. The year after that, I raised about, I'm going from memory here because this is 2002, about $80,000 for the club. The next year I did Fun Run, which is a run we have around the bay, raises money, you sponsor teams, all this stuff. It's all fun. We raised, I think that year, about $40,000. So being a good Rotarian. And then I sort of waited, because, you know, at that point they tell you bide your time, and, you know, you get invited onto the board, and you can help me, be a director, do things. And I waited and waited and waited. And in 2006, my name came up because what the club used to do is there were 8 positions, 8 directorships at that time, and they put 10 names forward. And my cousin Todd and I did not make the cut. Popularity contest. The funniest part about all that is, of those 8 people, none of them still in the club. None. And up until a year ago, I was there, and Todd is still there. So, okay, yeah, it happens. Okay, no problem. At that point, my dad was ill, and my dad, that year, had passed on. He had succumbed to cancer and moved on. So, I'm sitting around in my office, and I'm working away, and the past president comes up to me and says, hey, also, I worked hand in hand with his Sergeant Arms for his year. We took what people were not used to and made it, now it's the de facto. We decided when he was Sergeant Arms, and his Sergeant Arms is and still is a good friend of mine, we took the weekly meetings and made them more interactive. We had, you know, where we meet, we had projectors, all that stuff. So for the first time ever, other than special events where they do 1 or 2, every week we put up, hey, so-and-so, you've been fined for this, your picture in the paper, and here it is. The entire year we did that. And now that's the de facto for all that. Anyway, the next year, the president, because the president is in charge of the nominating committee, he came to see me. And it was just after my dad died, just after my funeral. So he showed up and I went, hey, you know, thanks for coming to my dad's funeral. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the kind of words you said. He goes, I'm not here for that. Oh, what are you here for? I want you on the board next year. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to go through that again. You know, not making the cut is, no, we're not doing that anymore. 8 people for 8 jobs. Okay, all right, I'll do it. Sure, why not? Yeah, I'll be a board member. And I was on the board that next year, 2007, 2008, with my good friend Jerry. He was the president, and it was a lot of fun. And then nothing. For a long time. So, fill in the time, I was attendance chair, 3 years. Then I became webmaster because at that point, 2010, webmastering skills were not easy to come by. So I could do them. So I said, can you be our club webmaster? No problem. And then about a year after that, one member of our club became the district governor. District that I'm in had at that point 44 clubs, and he was sort of in charge of all of them. He said, I have a job for you. And I said, I have way too many jobs, Ray. Thank you very much. He said, no, I want you to be district webmaster. So basically run the whole district. Yeah, okay. All right, I'll do that. And I got involved in the district. I did that for 6 years. And at the club level, nothing. To the point I got bored. And a position on the executive came up, position secretary. Now, I'm going to tell you this story to lead into this story. When I wrapped up my 1 year as a director, my only year as a director, my president, Jerry, was so impressed. He said, I'm in charge of the nominating committee. You are fantastic. What I did was club service. So I helped run the club. And he said, you're great. You'd be a great secretary. Sure, put my name forward if you like. No problem. I found out later that the nominating committee said, Porter, never. Should have quit then. But anyway, so that's just like, So at this point, my club doesn't want me to do anything. So, well, actually they do. But they don't want me to do anything at an administrative level. They just said, no. So I said, I'll take the secretary job. That's 2014. And it was funny because my good friend Ted was president for that year. What happens is they put, the nominating committee says, here's, and Mr. President, you're going to do this job. Here's who we have for your board of directors. You have no's on a couple of them, but you sort of are stuck with the slate. And you go through the list. Dave is secretary? Oh, I was on stage with my sergeant at arms. Even better. So that started 6 years as secretary. At the time that I retired, which is still standing, I am the longest serving secretary in my club, 6 years. And people said to me, why do you do that yourself 6 years? So anyway, I was not a director. I was executive. I was working with the treasurer, 3 different ones, and the president and the vice president to keep the club running reliably. And by the time my tenure wrapped up, many people said, you're the best secretary we've ever had. You were fantastic. Yeah, even to the point where for my final president, he said, I spent the entire year hearing from Dave. Did you know that you have to? Did you know that you have to? Did you know what you have to? Because I was very efficient. You have to sign this and this date. We have a memorandum of understanding that has to be in on this date, and this has to go on this date, and this is going to this date, and this is going to this date. So I ran the club for 6 years. But, it came to an end. And at this point, as it's wrapping up, we're starting the pandemic. So at that point, it was decided by the president and the sergeant at arms, and I said, I have some skills with this. Do you want to do this? That we would make some videos. And we would do videos, and for the first month, we recorded things and I got them to me, and I compiled them, or the first 2 months, compiled them together, put it up, and off we went. And I did stuff to make things, bring levity to it, so that, there was, I was on the Enterprise, and you see my Star Trek uniforms. Another time I was on the TARDIS. So they said, hey, Dave, anything to add? And then it zooms into the TARDIS flying through space, and there's me in my Captain Jack Harkness coat. And I'm just, nope, nothing to add. And then I had the TARDIS dematerialize. Trying to keep it fun. I had my Star-Lord helmet. I have a video of it appearing. So I just kind of I'll see you guys later. I'll talk to you later. And I go off. So at that point I was done with, with doing the administrative stuff. And I thought, this is kind of fun. And I'm just sitting back being a Rotarian and thinking, well, now's the time they're asking me to help out around the club. My job, well, it wasn't really a job. It was sort of handed to me. Dave runs the tech because I'm good at it. It's what I do. So if the projector doesn't work, call Dave. Sound system doesn't work, call Dave. To the point that the city who owns the projectors will ask me, hey, we had a problem with this. What do you think? Do this. Oh, that works. Great. Thanks. So I guess that was my de facto job. Then we got into, I stepped down and the next slate of presidents were announced. Yeah. I served with a lot of great presidents. From 2014 to 2020, I had some great presidents, and a lot of them were deserving. Well, most of them were deserving. They had done things in the club. I've always been a firm believer in a meritocracy, and I'll talk on that more in a minute about things that are happening in Rotary International. The best person for the job. Now, I've lived through this. I graduated in 1991, and people say it didn't happen, but I was there. It did. At that point, government jobs, healthy white males need not apply. Excuse me? Well, that's racist. Well, no, it's not. No. We're bringing people of color and just, okay, flip that on its head. Healthy black males should not apply. Oh, that's racist. So why is it not racist when you say white males? Anyway, what I'm saying is meritocracy. If you do something and you do it well and you've earned a chance to do this, you should get to do it. So if you've done a good job running these events and then you run this, run that, yeah, welcome to presidency. Have a good time. Knock yourself out. After I stepped down as secretary, nice enough person that hadn't done anything in the club, been a director a couple times. Person after that, when they got named, and this is the person who ejected me from the club. We'll get to that in a second. When this person's name was announced, you could see in the room, and so-and-so, and the room went, are we getting punked here? What? Really? To the point I got like a dozen phone calls saying, really? That person? Did they even ask you? What? No. So here at this point, this is 2020, and these names are being announced. And people were looking around asking these things, and they asked me a couple questions. I said, well, yeah, one time I've been on the board. They went, what? Yeah, I've been a director once in 20 years. They went, what? Yeah, once. 2007. What? So to cap it out, I'd been in the club for 20 years, a director once. I'd chaired ChemFest, chaired Fun Run, attendance chair for 3 years, webmaster for 2 years, district webmaster for 6 years, secretary for 6 years. Nothing. So I thought, you know what? I have kids in North Bay, and we meet in North Bay as the district executive. So I thought, well, I'm bored. I guess I'll apply to be district secretary. And I was successful in district secretary. So now I'm district secretary. So I'm executive for the district. At this point, 42 clubs, a couple of clubs that had disappeared. And my club still has nothing for me to do. No. So I was getting a little jaded. Also, too, in order to help out the presidents, I would keep a list of who had served as directors. So when the nominating committee gets together, they kind of go, well, here's who's done what for the last 10 years. A lot of the same names popped up again and again and again. To the point, last year, there were 2 gentlemen on the board. It's their 3rd time in 8 years. Once, and by the time I left, 22. So I was not enjoying myself. I was not having a good time. And certain things were happening at the club level, certain things happening at the district level. At the club level, we're just putting people forward who really aren't very qualified. Now, I'd had enough of what was going on because the person who was in charge of the club, the one who kicked me out, and I will get to that in a second, he's a tool. And he just was, let's put it this way, the club lost 20 people when he took over. I think they're down another 10. It just was, he's the wrong person for the job, from what I've heard. And I said, I've had enough. I'm taking leave. I can't deal with this. I don't want to deal with this person anymore. I'm going to take a leave. I don't care. And I just stuck it out. And there's certain things that happen, like just blatant lies. And people's like, okay, whatever. And moved on. and I just had enough. And it got to the point of February 14th, 2022, I was talking with a current director of the board because somehow a check for his business ended up in my business, and we're a block apart, but we had the same suite, we have the same number on the front of our building. So he comes to me, I don't know how I got it, and I called him, I got a check for it, and then we started chatting, how's things? Oh, well, and I just thought, you know what? I'm not enjoying this at all. I think I'll just resign. So I sent a very nice letter to the board on February 14th, Valentine's Day. My intent to resign sometime in April to be determined. I have things as district secretary. Also, I was the only club runner trainer. Club runner is a program we use. I've been a club runner trainer for 9 years. So for 9 years, I would go to North Day and I would train people how to use Club Runner. And then people would email me during the year, how do you do this, how do you do this? And I would train them, in fact, to the point where I would talk to the people who wrote the program, saying, you should make this change, and this change, and this change. Oh, that's a good idea. You should do that. So I said, I have things to do. I have to teach secretaries. I have to teach this. I have to teach that. I will resign in April. Date to be determined once the training weekend has been determined. Well, February 17th, 2022, I'm driving in North Bay to get my kids. So like I took the job as secretary because my kids are in school there, and I figure I'll be in North Bay, I'll get paid to see my kids because it's a weekend. I'll go do it. We do it 4 times a year. This is pre-pandemic. I got the job in January of 2022, 2020, without knowing what was going on and whether it was going to go, to crap. That turned into a Zoom meeting, and not what I signed up for because there was like 3 in a week, and I was like, no. Anyway, I was on my way to get my kids to bring them home for reading week. I'm just outside of town at 2:30. I get a phone call from one of my friends. I served on the board, well, so an executive with him as he was treasurer, I was secretary. Yeah, you just announced you resigned. No, I resigned in April. No, announced today, done. So I checked my login credentials, and my login credentials for Club Runner, gone. Okay, beautiful. Quick text to the district executive. Hey guys, you're on your own. What? Well, I've just been ejected from the club. So yeah, I said April to get this done, but they said, basically it was, I'll leave in April. And the president was like, you can get out now. Now I know that because, fun story, just the other day, I'm working away, I got a call from the person who replaced me as secretary. Now this is the part that really makes me laugh. They kicked me out a year ago and had made no succession planning whatsoever. I gave them time to do it, and they said, get it now. They just realized now that I was the only administrator for the Office 365. I could have turned off the website and all the email accounts. I didn't because I'm not a dick. Could have. So a year, almost a year to the day, it's 2 days short of a year to the day, the current secretary said, hey, can you reply to these and give me admin access? Sure. It's just so mismanaged. So anyway, I was chatting with him about other things, and I said, how are you doing as secretary? Are you getting through these things? And I said, that must have been fun last year. He goes, oh God, and it's even worse this year. And then I knew it would be for the people that they put forward. So that just sort of gave me the information I needed. I had heard, but I knew that really the impetus was the president just didn't like me. He wanted me out. Yeah, he's a little man. And anyway. So that is what happened. Now, the fact that I was a director once, and I've talked to a few people about this since, being put forward as a director means your club has confidence in you to do things. And I said to someone who said, no, you resigned. No, I was kicked out. No, you resigned. No, I was kicked out. And the fact is, I was ready to go anyway because I'm a director asking me once in 22 years is a freaking insult to someone who runs everything. And also, I had 22 years of perfect attendance. I was a Rotarian. I served these things. I served beer. I did this. My wife was a server. She got all that stuff. We did these things. We had fun with it. And I ran all these things and did all these great things. And then I ran the district and all these other things. You get out. Now you're probably wondering why the president had him add-on for me. Well, I've known him for years. He actually was married to my best friend's sister. No longer. Here's the thing. I held him to account. We have bylaws. I was the keeper of the bylaws for 6 years. I helped write them with some of the past presidents and the past district governor. I knew them inside out, backwards, forwards. He decided on a whim to change one of our committees from public relations to promote Rotary. I said, you can't do that. It's in the bylaws. Well, we're just doing it anyway. You can't. It's contrary to the bylaws. If you submit minutes, the CRA can actually kind of go, hey man, yeah, no, we're in the minutes of public relations. Well, we called it this one. You can't do that. So that fell on deaf ears. I said, it's really, if you want to change it, go right ahead. Have a club assembly and change it. Just have to get agreement from the membership to do it. Done. Another thing too is the board would meet on the third Tuesday of the month. And then the committees would meet on the first Tuesday of the month. So it gives you 2 weeks to get a summary out to the members so they can know what the board did the last month. I spent 5 months asking my director, where's the summary? Oh, it'll come out soon. Where's the summary? Where's the summary? Where's the summary? Well, I'll read it to you. No, we can read. Just give it to us. So apparently I was causing ripples by asking someone to do their job to the point where they said, you know, I'm quite busy. I ran the club for 6 years. Don't talk to me about busy. So I got booted. But to be fair, the last year I was starting to get cranky about it because we are 20 years. Like even my cousin Todd, who joined the same time as me, he'd been director 3 times or 4 times. Once. So I was getting a little tired of it. And then things came to the head at the district level as well. There's this huge push right now for DEI, diversity, equity, inclusivity. I spoke about this earlier. I believe in a meritocracy. You should have proposals together for funding, and here should be your proposals for funding. And pick the proposal. No, pick the person, pick the proposal. So anyway, there's a huge push on that. And after I left, I talked to the past district governor about this, and I said, I have a real problem with DEI. So why do you have a problem with that? You're saying you're going to pick people who are Black, Indigenous, or people of colors, or by all those other things, for stuff first, and let basically people like me end of the line. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, we're trying to work with equity and exclusivity, inclusivity. Well, it's racist. No, it's not. No. Okay, so you're saying we're looking for people like this. Yes. So by flipping that around, we don't want white men. Yes. Change that white man to black man. We don't want black men. Racist. If you can change one word and it's suddenly racist, it's racist. You make a good point. Yeah, we're taking all these people and we're sort of pushing them aside. You've had your run. We're going to focus on everyone else now. That was one problem I had with it. Second problem I had was for this current year, 2022-23, we had the first female president. Not even female, she's all like Rotary International. She's Canadian. Windsor, it's a couple hours away from here. In order for her to come to the district. Now this just floated up as I was getting kicked out, so I maybe don't have all the details. She wanted a promise of $15,000 for her to come to our district. Pardon? Yeah, well, I need this commitment for these projects I'm doing. You need to basically pony up $15,000 and I'll come to your district. No. $15,000 can go a long way towards shelters and people who actually need help, not you for your little pet projects. And the third biggest problem I have, and I've talked about this for years in the club I was a member of. I'm at the point now, it's been a year now, it's no longer my club. For a while there, my club, my old club. In the club, the mantra was this.
It's run by Rotary Club of Barrie. All the money goes back into the community. And we really need
Yeah, that's what they always said. That doesn't jibe with this. Or this. Or this. So you're conning people. Like really, 100% of money raised stays in the community. $6,000 xylophone in the Dominican Republic. $6,000 for a xylophone. And Haiti's next door. Also, we had an ex-member, they had an ex-member who would go to Haiti, and we actually, as a board, paid for her to drive around Haiti in a taxi cab looking for new projects. Haiti was her pet project. And how dare we question her on what she's doing? So if she didn't leave on her own accord, I was ready to lead the charge to kick her out. Because, yes, this is not how this works. We are a group. We don't do this. So, in the end, that is my journey. My wife is thrilled that I am no longer involved because it took a lot of my time. In the grand scheme of things, over the years, the 2 and a bit decades I served, I did some good. And I ran the club for 6 years. The president kicked me out. We got in an argument about that. I said, I understand this. I ran the club. No, the president runs the club. You have no idea how this works, do you? You really don't. Ask any other secretary who runs the club. It's the secretaries. Anyway, I did it. I did what I could. And I did some good projects in the area, and I helped out some things. And I did lots of other little things that, were in that original list, but I'm not going to dwell on them. I created some things that we're still going on for quite a number of years. But that is what happened. If you hear, which in YouTube, who from my area is watching this video? Probably nobody. But, it still is the mantra is, well, he resigned. No, I asked to resign. I got booted. So there you are. I have zero concerns now with what's going on. As I was talking to the current secretary, he said that the president these days is, and I was not surprised when I heard his name was announced. I went, this is going to be fun. And yeah. So he's fitting true to form. Again, another person who, in my opinion, is not someone who's qualified to run the club, and that's paying off. So I guess I'll wrap this up. There have been plenty of people who've been asking me, because I've alluded to this, many times about this. Here's what happened with Rotary. I'll tell you about it later. That's what happened. And some of my people, and I posted this on Facebook a little while ago, and one of my friends and my father said, why are people still questioning this? I said, people are, so I'm going to do this again. So hopefully this puts this whole thing to bed. It's behind me. I would like to say I wish them the best, but it's getting very, very top heavy in administrative, a lot of money going into dumb projects, and there's a lot of stuff going on I don't like. So if they hadn't booted me, I probably would have left anyway. I'd had it. And the fact I was used. As I said to a few people, when this all came to the forefront, and the one nice thing about all that is it came out that I had resigned. Immediately, one person reached out, 2 people reached out, and that was about it for a while. So I wasn't really seen as a member of the club, but it was heartening to hear that from a few other friends who, well, they're customers as well. They reached out and said, by the way, you were the topic of discussion at our next committee meeting for every committee. What happened and what did the president do to make him quit? To the point where they heard at that point that I, had not ever been asked to be a director other than once. They went, what the hell? Really? Why would all these people get multiple kicks of the can and you don't get any? That doesn't make any sense. And there's actually was a petition among some committees to bring me back and to, get me in the fast track to do things. I went, no, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I was even approached by other clubs in the area. Other presidents heard about what happened. Said, we'd love you to join our club. No, I gave 22 years. I'm not starting over with a new club. Well, you could be president in a couple of years. I don't want to be. I'm done. Rotary's taken all that it can from me, and I'm not doing this anymore. So there you go. I've threatened about doing this for a while. I now have, that is my story. And yeah, as I said, I've made the world a better place, I hope. But I'm hearing from a lot of people who have been in the club for 40 years. I'm seeing where things are going. I went, yeah, bye. Other people who've been in for 20 years, bye. And I guess the part that really burns me, the part that really got me going, that got me kind of ticked, I started looking at who they were putting forward for president over a little while. My friend Ted, earned it. He was in the club for 20 years or 23 years by the time he got it. The next president after him joined the same year as me. President 2015. Had been director, secretary. Same year. President after him, joined 2 months before me. President. Person after him joined 2 years after I did. Person after that, been in the club for 35 years. Well done. My last president joined 2 years after I did. The president who followed him the first year that I was not secretary, been in the club 10 years longer. Person who was president after that took 2 years off. There's some rumors about why he left the club, but I'm not going to drop them here. There's no point. Person after that, I've been in the club for 4 years longer. Person after that, 10 years longer, and just announced the person after that who's going to do 2025, 26, 10 years longer. Yeah. So, as I said to other people, I was a resource. I was not a member. And when I say it to a few people, they go, yeah. Especially people who are, or were, several friends have left the club recently because they're tired of where it's going. Is yes, you definitely were a resource. They weren't treating you like a member. So that is interesting because now I'm doing it a year to the day of my getting kicked out. And I said I did one a couple weeks after I got booted out last year and it was cathartic. This is even more cathartic. I'm not even expecting anyone to still be here listening to this because this has got to be, 20 minutes. I am done. I will never go back to that thing. And in fact, there's really very little good I can say about the organization at this point, just because of the way that everything has gone down. I did what I could when I could. I made some good friends out of it, but it's my past, and you couldn't make me join by putting a gun to my head. So there you go. So that is my rant and ramble for the day. It is something, but I threatened to do this, and now it's done. So thanks for listening to my little diatribe here. That is just something I just had to get off my chest. I'm happy I have. So I will talk to you all later.